Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Dreamworld video. It has been a while. Coming up in today's video, I find biscuits in a house, goblins for some reason, water having a seizure, the Spirit Lantern Mafia have arrived in town, whatever the fuck this is, and much more. So without further ado, let's jump into this. It has been a long time since I downloaded the game, so I went and downloaded the latest update. While doing so, I found out that the iOS version has not been updated or uploaded in 76 days. Now, I had some suspicions as to why this might be the case, and they were pretty much instantly confirmed when I opened the game. As I was opening the game, which by the way has now been renamed to Dreamworld, previously named Elysium, which by the way, that meme has been going on so long, rip the meme. I noticed there was a TXT file for the manifest of files that are not native to UE4. Out of interest, I opened it and my suspicions were confirmed. Inside, there are lots and lots of references to NVIDIA physics. For those of you who don't know what physics is, it's NVIDIA's physics framework for both particles, physical things, and much, much, much more. It's actually a really cool tool, however, it is notoriously bad with iOS, in the sense that depending what features of physics you use, a lot of the time your projects just will not compile for iOS, or they will have critical errors and exit out. What I feel's happened here is they added these updates, didn't update or build the iOS client for a while, and now that they've come to build it, they've realized it just doesn't work. Which isn't a massive loss, to be honest, as iOS is very rarely used by gamers, because it is just bad. And many games now just don't offer an iOS client. So as we launch the game, we find out there is a new loading screen, which it's about time. It's not a terrible one, it's not a great one, it is just a loading screen. Then I venture out into the world to check out one of the new updates that interested me the most. Water will now flow down slopes. Now, as somebody who has just added water to their own MMO in the span of 48 hours, it really does baffle me as to how they have messed this up so bad. This is one of those cases where it would have been infinitely better for them to have not touched the water, because for some reason now, as you walk around, the water just has an absolute seizure. It's actually sickening. After recording this, I had to just stay away from water because it really hurts your eyes. Before we continue, a very quick word from our sponsor of today's video, Atlas VPN. Do you frequently find yourself being locked out of watching shows that you want to watch in your country? Well, recently I've been using a VPN to get around Funimation's content lock. I've been using it to catch up on shows over the last few weeks that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to watch in the UK. I've also been using VPNs to research dodgy NFT projects for upcoming videos. Quite honestly, a place where I wouldn't want my personal information exposed to them. But Atlas isn't just a VPN. Atlas also has a tool called the Breach Detector. The Breach Detector will alert you anytime any one of your online accounts has been leaked on the internet and is visible. This happens more than you'd think, and I've had this happen in the past. Simply enter your email, press scan, and wait to see if you've been owned. If you're looking to protect yourself from the Dreamworld Goblins, head over to my link in the description and save 82% on their 3-year plan, bringing the price down to a small $1.99 a month, which is a price you really can't beat. So get the offer while it lasts. It's almost like the animation for the flowing water is tied to the movement of the player, because it's fine when you stand still, but anytime you move, it's just moving all over the place in weird ways that just don't make any sense. After this, I moved on to the fields to check out their new terrain generation updates. And I have to say, their terrain generation is actually getting better, and it's starting to look nicer. That's all I can really say on that. This was going well until I roamed into a cave and a fucking goblin came running out at me to poke me with his spear. I don't see what purpose these serve, as they really don't seem to have any drops that are worth anything or that you would even want. They are just an annoyance. They also look like they're ripped straight out of Warcraft 3, which really doesn't fit the style of anything in this game. Not that anything really fits the style of anything else in this game, but this in particular just doesn't. Speaking of things that don't fit the style of the game, for some reason my doe mount is no longer a doe. It is now a horse crossed with a camel that has fur on it. This is confusing to me, as the doe is one of the things that didn't really need fixing, or didn't need fixing as urgently. But they, for better or worse, did that. Also, the animations on this do not sync up to any movement speed that you do. If you are running, it animates too slow. And if you are walking, it animates too fast. There's no consistency here. This is actually a downgrade rather than an upgrade. So, next up, I'd been tipped off that rivalry had been occurring in Dreamworld. Now, there is a system where every 7 days, you are able to light 5 different lanterns by 5 different players, receive essence as a reward. Essence is used to build a lot of the higher end stuff, so it's kind of required, and the point of this is that you go around the world and meet new people. Not that there are any people to meet. And this is kind of where this problem has stemmed from. Right outside the portal out of the city, Gigabear and his army of alt accounts have made a collection of spirit lanterns where you can complete your weekly quest by literally stepping out the portal and pressing E on all the lanterns. The fact that somebody has had to make this convenient due to the lack of players in the game really just shows how badly this is going in terms of player count, which we will get back to in a bit. And that's not even to mention that they found a bug with the trading posts, where if you set the quantity that you wish to buy from somebody of any given item to over 2.1 billion items, it would set that resource to negative 2.1 billion and charge you negative the amount that you needed to spend. Therefore, not charging you for any of the items you're trying to buy, but instead giving you the maximum amount of that resource while taking away the thing you were trying to buy. Again, this is such a simple thing to avoid in game development, yet they somehow didn't manage to. For lack of a better term, this is an infinite item dupe. They've also added rolling. Now, this is very much like Dark Souls, but for some reason it seems like it's just the character's jump animation, and then they've rotated the character 360 degrees, whichever way you're rolling. It seems very odd. There's no sort of like visual feedback on the animations. It's just kind of odd. Not to mention that it doesn't even add to the game. This game's combat system has no telegraphing. For those of you who don't know what telegraphing is a visual indicator of an attack that is about to happen. Let's look at Dark Souls. There will be a long pause before a swing of a hammer, giving you time to dodge. In games like World of Warcraft or other MMOs, there will be rings on the floor that are showing where an attack is about to land or about to hit, also giving you time to escape the radius of that attack, making maneuvering abilities useful for maneuvering. Dreamworld doesn't have any telegraphing of any sort, rendering this rolling ability utterly useless, because there's no cue for you to dodge the thing that you're trying to dodge. It's actually just more efficient to sit there left-clicking the creature until it dies, because while you're rolling around, you're not attacking. And you're also very rarely actually dodging any attacks. All of this really leads me to something that I want to do. I really want to dissect this game's issues, because here's something that we can't really deny. They have fulfilled almost all of their backer rewards now. In fact, I think they probably have fulfilled all of the backer rewards. And I have to say, I'm proud of them for sticking around and continuing to do development on this. After the backer rewards were fulfilled, they could have quite easily disappeared, and that's fine. They gave the backers what they were promised. But it is quite clear that they want to make a game. And I've been sitting on this for a while and trying to think what the actual issue is with the game. Now, let's put aside the dodgy things they did at the start and the unusual way that they went about funding this. Those were all issues in themselves, and I am not justifying any of those issues, but I want to look at this from a gameplay perspective. And I think I've finally figured out what is wrong with Dreamworld. Every single system that's added to this game feels like it was added just because they wanted to add it, and not because it benefits the game in any way. The game does not respect the player's time. Let's look at it like this. Building is the end game. The end game is to build something, but there's no reason to build something other than the fact that you want to. Now, to get to the point of being able to build something, you have to gather things. You have to go mining. To build a pickaxe, you have to gather nonsensical items. To get a pickaxe, to get resources, to build something that has no use other than you wanting to build it. The building system is atrocious in comparison to every building system I've ever used. And I've used some really bad building systems in games, but this one is atrocious. It is infuriating, it is unpredictable, and it just doesn't do what you're expecting it to do. It's a chore to even work out how it works. So if the reward for everything you do in this game is allowing you to build, well, we've got an issue there, because that is not a reward, that is a punishment. The example of the pickaxe is a perfect one. For me to make the first tier pickaxe, it took close to 3 hours. I had to walk around through every biome. I had to dig for about 20 to 30 minutes in each biome to get the required bones to make the bone pickaxe. It was basically a Lord of the Rings trilogy of pain. I did not enjoy a single minute of getting this pickaxe. And by the time I did get the pickaxe, I wasn't happy, I wasn't relieved, I was defeated. And the only thought I had was, dear God, please never, ever lose this pickaxe, because I will not make another. And this brings on to another problem. Once you've done something once, the second time isn't any faster or any easier. The knowledge that you have learned along the way of how to make this thing doesn't speed up the process, because it's completely RNG related. It's luck based. Do you get a bone that's a 1 in 100 chance when digging in the desert, or do you not? So if anything, it could take me twice as long next time I go to make the same pickaxe. And what is the reward from getting that pickaxe? Well, now you get to do the same again with the next tier, and the next tier, and the next tier. And the reward once you've got all the tiers is you can build with the top tier stuff. And as I've said, that is not a reward. It's not a reward that's worthy of the time you've put in. I think the main issue with this game is that it doesn't know what it is. And this is a common first-time game developer mistake. And I'm going to tell you a quick story about my first-time game development mistake. The first game I ever made was basically a clone of Pokemon Ruby. And here's the issue with that. I was incredibly, incredibly proud of myself for managing to make it work. I did things that I didn't think I'd be able to make or replicate. And I was proud of myself that I did. And I should have been, because I was learning. I'd learned something new. Now, this feels like exactly what's happening in Dreamworld. Zach and Garrison were incredibly proud of themselves that they'd managed to make anything that was even remotely networked that would even function or compile. And again, they should have been proud of themselves, because that's the first steps to learning game development. However, it should not have been released or funded based off of that. This is where game developers mislead themselves. I can't tell you how many times in Nightmare World that we've made systems, a developer has spent 3 weeks programming them, only for us to scrap them because the rest of the team discovered it wasn't fun. And as a game developer, you have to put aside your pride, realize that yes, you did a great job in making something, but realize that it isn't fun. And if it isn't fun, you are going to be the only one who enjoys it purely because you made it. Now, I'm going to place a bet on something. I am certain that Dreamworld will not cut and run. They're not going to disappear with money, because I do believe they actually want to make a game. However, this game is not going to be financially stable. Based off public information and people I know who've applied for Dreamworld, they're paying their developers between 80 and upwards of 100k a year. Let's say they have 7 developers. That's 700k a year that they're spending. And they're not going to be making that back in sales ever. With the current direction of this game, it's never going to make that back. When the investors realize that it's never going to make the money back, let alone make profit, they're going to stop investing. And when they stop investing, they stop paying their staff because they can't afford to. And sadly, I think that's how Dreamworld will come to an end. Ladies and gents, I really hope you've enjoyed this little bit of a tangent towards the end, but I feel it's valuable information to any budding game developer. And I know we have a lot of those watching my videos. So that has been an autopsy of Dreamworld. And I will be honest with you, I actually stopped making Dreamworld videos for one reason. Mostly because a large portion of people seem to think that Dreamworld are paying me to make videos, which is completely false. I wouldn't accept money off Dreamworld to make videos about Dreamworld. But I decided, hey, screw it. So many people enjoy the Dreamworld videos, I'm not going to let a small few ruin it for the rest. So I am bringing them back. May not be every week, but I am bringing them back. As, honestly, I really do enjoy taking a look at how this is progressing. As do many of you. But anyway, that is all for today's video. As always, guys, a massive thank you to the patrons. And if you are watching this live, I'm going to be over on Twitch right now. If Twitch isn't your thing, I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care.